All right, today we're diving into a really powerful philosophy on parenting, one that sees it not as just some private family affair, but as a truly sacred public responsibility. Well, right off the bat, the source material hits us with this incredibly bold statement. Let that sink in for a second. This is the central idea that everything else is built on. Raising a child isn't about owning them. It's about looking after them for the good of everyone. I mean, that one sentence alone really challenges how a lot of us think about family, doesn't it? Okay, so what does it actually mean to see children as a public trust? Let's unpack that. We're about to explore how this philosophy shifts parenting from being just a personal choice to being a fundamental duty, one that has huge consequences that ripple out into the world. The argument here is just so direct. It's saying that all those quiet, seemingly tiny moments at home, the daily routines, the words you use, the example you set, they're not small at all. They are literally the building blocks for the next generation's character. They are what will shape the future of our society. So according to this way of thinking, the role of a parent, and it places a special focus on the mother during those really early years, is seen as the highest calling there is. It's called a sacred work, something so vital that you just can't or shouldn't delegate it to somebody else, because you are, quite literally, molding the future. So if the job is that important, what kind of love does it actually take? Well, the source material argues it's something more than just natural instinct or simple affection. It requires a very specific kind of thoughtful, intentional engagement. And that leads us right to this really central question. We tend to celebrate maternal instinct as this amazing, all-knowing guide, but this philosophy stops and asks, hang on, is instinct alone really enough for a task this massive? The answer proposed is this idea called thinking love. Now, this isn't some cold, detached thing, not at all. It's an active, intentional love that mixes deep affection with real wisdom and conscious decision-making. It's about actively guiding a child's potential, not just loving them passively. And this is the time when that thinking love is most critical. The source zeroes in on the first 6 years as the absolute foundation for our child's entire education. It even goes so far as to call motherhood during this phase a professional vocation, one that needs the same level of seriousness as any other career. But, this brings up a tough question. We all know that most parents love their kids and mean well, so why do things still go wrong sometimes? Well, this philosophy points to a critical gap, a gap between love and knowledge. And this is such a crucial point. The source argues that when parents stumble, it's very rarely from a lack of love or not caring enough. No, it's from a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding the basic principles, the natural laws, really, that govern how a child grows physically, mentally, and morally. The idea here is that parenting is a skill that has to be learned, not just felt. To really drive this point home, the text pulls in thinkers like Herbert Spencer. He made the argument that, look, we demand that people get training for almost every other complex job, but for the most important job in the world, forming a human mind, we just kind of assume they'll figure it out on their own. And the most common trap is described with this great phrase, masterly inactivity. You know what that is? It's that tendency to just step back, provide the food and the love, and just assume that a child's character will naturally develop in the best way possible. This philosophy says, no way. True character needs constant, intentional shaping. So, if that hands-off approach isn't enough, what's the alternative? Well, this brings us to the solution, and it all comes down to a really vital difference between two ways of doing things. And man, this question feels more relevant today than ever, doesn't it? With a million parenting blogs, books, and so-called experts all yelling different things, how on earth is a parent supposed to choose a clear path? Well, the key, it's suggested, isn't about finding the perfect system, but something else entirely. And here it is. This is the core distinction. On one side, you've got the system. Think of it like a machine. It's rigid, it's mechanical, it promises quick results, like strict sleep training programs or sticker charts. But then on the other side, you have the method, and that's more like being a gardener. It's organic, it's gentle. A method doesn't use artificial tricks. It uses the real everyday moments of life as the actual tools for education. And when it comes right down to it, the difference is this. A system might get you a well-behaved kid, but a method is aiming for something so much deeper. The goal isn't just about controlling what a kid does, it's about nurturing who they are, the full, vibrant development of their inner life, their soul. Now, I totally get it if all of this is starting to feel a little overwhelming. It can sound like a crazy high standard to meet, but this last section is all about how this philosophy tries to make this huge vision for parenting actually achievable. And the source actually calls this out directly. It acknowledges that the idea of being on all the time, always watching, always guiding, it sounds absolutely exhausting. It sounds like more than any normal person could possibly do. But the solution here isn't to just try harder. It's to work smarter. Instead of just making it up as you go, moment by moment, the goal is to really understand and internalize a few core guiding principles. And once those principles become second nature, acting on them is supposed to feel natural and intuitive, not like a chore. And this is the final, powerful idea that pulls it all together. This thoughtful approach isn't some extra burden you add on top of being a parent. The argument is that it is parenting when you understand it correctly. So it leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. Are we just raising children, or are we consciously and intentionally shaping the future?